My next guest is getting ready to fight for the Bellator flyweight title. Liz Carmouche, who will face Juliana Velasquez at Bellator 278 on April 22nd. Liz, how's it going?
It's going great. Thank you.
All right. And we're just a few weeks away from your flyweight title shot. How has camp been to this point, and how excited are you for this opportunity?
Camp's been great. And so because it's been such a successful camp and I feel so prepared, it just makes me that much more excited for this fight.
Yeah, definitely. And let's talk a little bit about your opponent, the champ, Juliana Velasquez, obviously a very tough opponent. What are your thoughts on the matchup and her run as champion so far?
I'm really excited for this matchup. I've been studying Juliana in anticipation of her fight against Salima. And certainly when she took the belt, I'm always trying to gun for the champ. So it just made me study and follow her career even more and just pick apart every little thing that I could see, both her strengths and her weaknesses. And I feel like my style matches up absolutely perfectly to take that belt from her.
All right, gotcha. And she actually has a similar style to your last opponent, Kana Watanabe, comes from a judo background. What are some of the challenges that come with preparing for that style?
Not as much as you would think. I've been fortunate enough to train with Justin Flores, and I did it in anticipation of the Watanabe fight, anticipating that it would go longer than it would, and that I would have to deal with her judo, and it never even got to that point. But all that preparation for that fight just made me that much better for this one. And competing, getting ready for that, I've just put in more hours and more work with Justin, and I feel really strongly about going into this fight, all the prep work that we've done together.
Yeah, definitely. And what are your thoughts on our last win over Denise Kielholtz? Obviously a really close fight, split decision. Who'd you have winning that one? And what are your thoughts on the performance overall?
Yeah, that fight, I don't feel like it was the best representation of either of them. Denise, her striking is phenomenal. I mean, there's a reason she's a Muay Thai champion. And I just think that she wasn't utilizing her range well enough. And I think that if any single one of those combinations landed as cleanly as they looked, I think she would have put out Juliana without a doubt. And I don't think that Juliana is doing much more than just little pitter patter and then running away. So in my mind, it wasn't really a great representation. It should have been a draw. But when it comes down to championship fights, as a person contending, you really have to go out there and put as much doubt in people's minds. And that just wasn't done for a lot of people. It was really questionable on who it could have been. And so because of that, I think that's really the only defining reason on why Juliana actually won it.
I gotcha. And who's going to be in your corner for this one?
For my corner in this one, it's going to be Charles Martinez and Ben Salvador.
Very cool. Very cool. And you're a veteran in the fight game, fought in the UFC, obviously now in Bellator. How much would it mean to you to earn a title in a major promotion like this at this stage of your career?
It would mean the world because one, I really connect with the Bellator staff so much. I have a huge appreciation for them, the camaraderie and the relationships I built with them when they were in Strikeforce, and now to come over with them. When I was cornering Lima and I was there for all her fights, I just saw just the great people that were working for Bellator. And I knew even before I was cut from the UFC, how much I wanted to be a part of Bellator then. And now to actually have that opportunity and for them to have kept their word with every step of the way, I'm saying that they're going to set up as many fights for me as possible. That means more to me than anything. And so because I've done that for me, it'd mean the world to go out there to represent all of Bellator by having that flyweight championship around my belt.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot has changed over the years. Some of the biggest stars in the sport now are women, Chris Cyborg, Kayla Harrison, Amanda Nunes. What are your thoughts on the state of women's MMA today as compared to when you first started competing?
You can't even compare the two on how they are. When I started off, you could barely find women in gyms anywhere. Some of the gyms when I first started training wouldn't even allow women to train there. And then to find anybody where their top talent on the team was a female, it didn't exist. It just didn't. Let alone where you're going to find very many women to train with. Whereas you go in now, and some of the top talent when you walk into a gym is led by females. Like if you go where Chris Cyborg is, that's the best talent that's in that building, and that's not something you could say before. You couldn't say that a woman was ever going to headline a card. No, not even slightly. They'd be on the prelims as a first fight. Nobody heard who they were. There's no mention, no buildup of it. To now, women are the ones that are headlining fights, and people tune in more for women because they're so excited for how we're going to go on there and put a show than the men ever are.
Yeah, definitely. And for this one, military veterans, first responders, medical personnel will all be getting a free admission to Bellator 278 on the day of the fight. As a military veteran, how much does that mean to you?
It means a lot. I know when I was in, anytime that there were events like this put on for the military, how much it just boosted morale. And it meant so much, especially when you're in a place that you're unfamiliar with, or you're whether it's you're overseas in a combat zone, or you're overseas in a place you're unfamiliar and disconnected from family. How having something like this just boosts all the morale, and to think that I have an opportunity now to do that for them, it means a lot to be on that flip side of things.
Definitely. And last question for me, what can fans expect at Bellator 278?
They can expect a strong finish. With each fight, I keep showcasing different parts of my game and showing more and more to offer for them. And this one's not going to be any different. It's going to be just more sparks and more excitement.
Awesome. And before we go, feel free to shout out any sponsors you have, social media, all that good stuff. I'll give you the final word.
Yeah, just mostly just wanted to do a huge shout out to my training partners and coaches, to Enrique Marte and Paige Yvette. They've been huge in helping me prepare for this fight and sacrificing their bodies continually. And then to my coaches, Vince Salvatore, and especially Charles Martinez. He's amazing in that he's constantly trying to evolve as a coach and as a practitioner. And he's in there trying to learn for us and bring new parts of the game in so that we can all grow. And that's something I really appreciate in a coach.
Awesome. Well, Liz, thanks again for the time. I can't wait for the fight, and I'm sure we'll chat again soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.